Hey everyone, today I am going to teach you how to look at the iris of your eye and to check the health of your digestive system. We're going to look at the fibers in the iris of your eye because they represent the what is happening throughout the rest of the body. That is your nervous system. The little fibers are actually part of your nervous system that reflects the rest of the body and what is happening in the tissues and organs. You can look at the fibers in the iris of your eye to know if you have any degenerative tissue, if you have anything that's just beginning. We can check the status, and you can know that before you even ever have symptoms. You can actually look in the iris of your eye and watch the progression of your healing. And today we're going to focus on digestion. Specifically, we're going to focus on the stomach, the liver and gallbladder, and the pancreas. So I'm going to give you some tips and some remedies, things that you can do if you're having an issue with your digestive tract. And then I'm going to give you some things that you can, I'm going to give you some discounts at the end. So you'll want to stay. So let's get this ball rolling, and I'm going to go ahead and get us going. We're going to start with, let's go full screen. How do I do that? Okay, I'm Linda. I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I have been helping people recover from chronic illness. I teach people how to heal their bodies, and I've been doing that since 2011. So what is iridology? It is the science of the study of the markings, the colors, and the fibers of the iris of your eye to understand the health of the related tissue. 65% of nerve fibers show up in the iris of your eye. It is the only place in the human body you can see the nerves from the outside world. So if you were to look really close into your eye and look at the colored part of the iris, the very center is your pupil, and then around that is your colored part, you're going to see that there are fibers, and different types of fibers reflect different things. The colors, how the colors of the fibers, how they are shaped, whether they're tight fibers, whether they're loose fibers, that tells us a lot about what is happening in your body. And there are only two colors, true colors of the eye. There is a brown eye and a blue eye. Some say there is a genetically mixed. So I have personally never seen that, but some say that a genetically mixed person can have some blue, like you could have blue and have some brown patches. But generally, brown patches have to do with sugar metabolism issues, candida, sulfur in the body, and you could be born with that. So I'm kind of skeptical of the genetically mixed. A green eye is really just a blue eye with yellow toxins overlaying the top. And you have 272 different neuropeptides that we know of from your hypothalamus, which is in your brain. So you have pituitary and you have a hypothalamus that runs your whole your endocrine system. And when you have certain emotions, that hypothalamus releases certain peptides, and those peptides are actually what give you the colors that are deposited into your eyes that are not natural. So toxins in general don't have a color, but they turn colors when those peptides are released from the hypothalamus. And that's how you get to the how certain organs, like they say the liver is anger. Kidneys are related to, maybe it's kidneys that are anger. I don't remember exactly, but your lungs are, mourning, like you've had a lot of hurt and mourning. So that'll affect the lungs, and you'll have certain colors that show up in there. But if you look on the screen here, you look at that iris that is showing there. And you can see that it has circles. Those are called nerve rings. And underneath there is a really light color. So this person appears to have a brown eye, but in reality, it really has a blue eye because you're seeing the color deep down inside through those nerve rings and around the outside, the perimeter. You can see that the eye is actually blue. So all of that brown that you're seeing there is actually toxins that are building up. Okay. So we'll talk about that. So we need to talk about some basics before you can actually look in the iris of your eye. Okay, so the main things we're looking at the color variations. So if you have a blue eye and you have other colors that are in there, maybe some black or some gray or white, or you have some orange, those are things we're going to be looking at. We want to know if there are any lesions. So if you look at this screen, you see the gray and white drawn picture there. See those leaf-shaped things? Those are called lacunas or lesions, and those demonstrate that the fibers are not straight and taut. That could indicate an area that is not got good circulation. The tissues may begin to get damaged. And then we're going to look at how deep are those lacunas? How deep is that area in there? So if you're looking up at the eye above the drawing, you can see now, as I've pointed it out, that you can see some fibers. You can see some dark areas, some lacunas, some holes that look like leaf-shaped holes, and some are very dark. You can see that there are some lighter colors in the eye. That all is reflecting what is happening in the body, in the tissues, because that is the nerves. And all those different nerves that are showing in the iris go to specific areas of the body. So again, we're looking at the fibers. How tight are the fibers? The tighter the fibers, the easier it is for someone to heal and get well. Okay. If you're a person that has really loose fibers, you were probably born with it, it's probably genetic. You can be healthy, but you're going to need more work. I've heard it said that a tight fibered person is like an oak, like oak furniture, really hard and, lasts a long time. And a person with wide fibers, loose fibers that are naturally loose and have always been loose would be more like a pine, some furniture made from pine. The pine can last just as long, but you have to baby it more. So if you're that type of person, you'll need more minerals, you'll need probably extra hormone support. So those are things that you can see when you're looking in the iris of your eye. Okay. Now today we're going to be talking about digestion. It's a huge subject. So today we're going to focus on the stomach, the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. Okay, so that's a lot of information for you. You're going to have so much information. I hope you have a mirror with you and maybe a little light. I have a pin light, little that I can shine in so you can see. You could use a keychain light. You can use pretty much any kind of light, but the brighter, you just really got to be careful about not burning your eyes. Okay, so if you look at this picture, you can see there's so much involved in the digestive system. Your digestive system really starts when you see the food or you smell the food. Because as soon as you see or smell the food, your body starts preparing for that. Your mouth starts watering and these things start happening. Then when you put the food in your mouth, you really should be chewing your food at least 30 times each bite. That would save so many of you guys a lot of health and digestive complaints because your mouth releases digestive enzymes. Okay, so most of your carbohydrates get started in the mouth. So chew your food. Don't be like me. I worked in an industry where I was always rushed, and I would have to grab food and just stuff it in and go to the next call. Okay. So I got into a really bad habit of not chewing my food and just scarfing it down. And so you really have to think about it, get into the habit of chewing. So it begins there, and then obviously goes down the esophagus and then into the stomach. Okay. And once it passes the stomach, you can see, if you're looking on the screen right here, you can see when it passes out of the stomach and goes into the small intestine, that first part of the small intestine, you have your bile duct and you have your pancreas is right in there. There's something called a common bile duct that's related to the pancreas and the liver and gallbladder. If your stomach doesn't have the correct pH, it needs to be very acidic, okay? If it doesn't have the correct pH, your rest of your digestion isn't going to work because it has to pass through that bile duct in an acidic form for your gallbladder and your liver and your pancreas to do what it needs to do. Okay, but then again, you don't want to be too acid because then you burn holes in your stomach, right? Okay, so we'll be looking at those things today. All right, so what we use is an iridology chart. This is the Dr. Jensen's chart is the one I use. There are other charts out there, but they're very, very similar. And they have been developed over the years, hundreds of years of different people who have done iridology and doctors who have been in practice. And I'm not going to go into all the background of that because that's a whole nother thing and that would take us some time. We're going to focus today mostly on the digestive. But if you look at the chart, you can see that it's set up like a clock. Okay, so remember that it's like a clock. The left eye, I don't know if this looks like the left to you or the right, but this is my left side. The left eye reflects the left side of the body, and the right eye reflects the right side of the body. Okay, so for instance, if you look at the right eye, you have liver right here, right almost at 8 o'clock, and you have liver right here at 4 o'clock. Your liver covers into the left side of your body just a little bit. So you have some liver in the left eye, but over here you have the spleen because that's where the spleen is. Okay, you have spleen on the left side. So everything is not exactly the same. And you'll see on the left eye, you have the major part of the heart there. You have a little bit of it over here, but you also have some of the heart in the right eye because the heart goes into the right side of the body cavity just a little bit. So that's how you can look. It starts at 12 o'clock. It's just like a clock. 12 o'clock's at the top. You've got 1, 2, 3, 6 o'clock is all the way to the bottom. 9 is just like 9 o'clock on a clock. And so that's how we do it. That's how we're looking at this. And we're looking, like 12:30 or 1:30 in areas like that. And so today we're going to talk about the pupil. We'll start with the pupil right in here and that circle around it. See if you can look in your mirror. And you guys, anybody tell me if you're able to see what I'm talking about. You have the dark pupil here, and then around the outside of that, right there, that is your stomach. That represents your stomach tissue, okay? So can you see that in your mirror? You can shine a light in there. Like I said, it's easier to see if you shine a light, but you could actually go right up into your bathroom mirror and get really close and look, and just shine that light right in there. It's easier to see if you shine it from an angle because you have layers. There are layers in the eye. So, and dark colored eyes have more layers, so the fibers are harder to see. But anyway, we're going to get moving here. If you have any questions or anything that I'm not making clear, please type it in the comments, or anything that you want to know more about. If I forget something, let me know, please. Okay, so here is an eye that is kind of almost ideal. This eye is a blue eye. You can see all these fibers. See how tight the fibers are? This person has a lot of fibers. And the color of the eye, the whole eye is almost blue. You have a little bit of white, but hardly anything. This is a very healthy person. This kind of a person can get away with a lot of things. And they'll, drink and smoke and, eat bad for years, never feel it. And then one day they feel it and they decide to change things and then they get over it really quick. Okay. That's a really healthy person. But as you can see this, remember there's the pupil, and then this is the stomach area. The stomach area should be the same color as the rest of the eye. Okay. His is, or her, whoever this is. I don't know. I don't know if this left eye, right eye, doesn't matter for this. The stomach is the same color as the rest of the eye. So this person has a healthy stomach. It's nice and round. The outside of it is, pretty uniform. This person is doing good. So, okay, let's look at this one. This person, as you can see, the stomach is a whole different color than the rest of the eye. The stomach is a lighter color than the rest of the eye. If your stomach ring is lighter than the rest of your eye, that means you have a lot of acid buildup in there. That's the kind of thing that leads to ulcers. How is yours? Are you looking in the mirror? Do you have a darker iris or stomach ring, or a lighter stomach ring, or is it the same color of your eye? Sometimes it can be mixed in there a little bit. You might just be starting to get darker, or you might just be starting to gain. So it might be in certain areas. So this one, acids will proceed out of the stomach. As you can see, here's the stomach. Now these acids are starting to leak out into the rest of the body, because this whole area here is the rest of the body. And as you can see, it's starting to leak out. So if you have acids in your stomach, because when a baby is developing in the mother's womb, the first part that develops is the digestive tract. So there is a connection. It's developing and it's moving out, and it has these, it's encased, with nerve fibers and things. And so that's the connection, and that's how the energy flows throughout the body. So this is going to affect the rest of you. So what does yours look like? All right, so here's another eye with stomach ring that's light in color. There's a lot of acid in this eye. And if you look here on this one, you can also see this brown here. That's called a malabsorption ring. Even though this person has a lot of acids, the lining of the stomach is not absorbing. The lining of the stomach. And this is a case of low lecithin. And that has to do with the liver, actually. Not producing enough lecithin. And what lecithin is all of your cells and your tissues have what's called a bilipid layer. So you can think of it as kind of like, you have one layer and then you have another layer on top, and in between all that is where all your nutrients are flowing in and out. And then each one of those layers is made out of lipids, which is fats, right? So that's lecithin, that's your cholesterol, that's those things. You need that to be healthy so that all the signals and all the nutrients can flow in and out like they're supposed to. So if you have something like that malabsorption ring like that, it's sometimes very hard to see. You really have to look hard, because somebody might just be developing it. This person has a pretty bad case of it. and you can see it all the way around. It looks like brown, right? Right there. And you can take supplements. You can take choline supplement. What also happens is your the body uses choline. So it starts with lecithin, turns into choline, then turns into acetylcholine to use in the brain. Okay, and that's what creates the neurotransmitters acetylcholine. That's what makes you think fast. That what helps you remember things. So that's if you have that, you will want to. One thing you can do is you can eat sunflower seeds. Sunflower seeds have lecithin in them. So you are increasing that, or you could take a supplement with lecithin in it. I take choline, plus I do eat a little bit of sunflower seed butter every day. So I try to anyway. I like it. I just take about a tablespoon or anywhere between a teaspoon and tablespoon. I put it in my shake. And so I get my lecithin that way, but I also take the choline. Okay. All right, so there you go. You have this. You can see this is the bowels. Remember we talked about that one? The blue eye had really circular bowel. This is your autonomic nerve wreath, and it sits on, it's basically nerves that are in your digestive tract. So anything outside the nerve wreath here is your peripheral nervous system, and anything inside this nerve wreath has to do with digestion. So as you can see, this one is not round. So this person has a lot of spastic bowels. They may or may not feel it, and but it does put pressure on other things. When you have a spastic bowel like that sticking out in some areas, like right here, that's if I don't know what eye that is, but whatever that is, it could be a kidney for a left eye or a bladder, or it could be the growing area, the uterus or the testicle area. It's hard to say, but that can put pressure. So as you can see, if you look across here, see how it's kind of down? So this one's down, that's the transverse colon. It's pushing down all the way through to the other side, and that's going to affect the other way down below. And that's how everything is connected. Okay? All right, so here is an under acid stomach. As you can see, okay, there's the pupil, there is the stomach area, and you can see that that is darker. It's almost a brown. It's different shades of brown. You can also see that there are these lines that go through. Those are called radii solaris, kind of like the sun rays. That tells me that there is some damage to the actual lining of the stomach. And this person doesn't have enough stomach acid. So what can you do for that? Well, our body needs sodium to be able to create stomach acid. So that's not like something you can do, like you're just going to go take a tablespoon of salt and then you're going to be fixed. No, you need to work on this for a while. You want to use something that is either like a Celtic salt. Probably Celtic is your best for this because it's also got a lot of magnesium in it. Or you could use other sea salt, okay? But you want to start small and begin to build that up in your system so that your stomach can begin to make stomach acid. Remember, we said that if your stomach is not making stomach acid, the rest of your digestion is going to suffer, okay? So you could also take betaine hydrochloride. You can get that in a pill, in a supplement, or you can take a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar with every meal. Okay, that will be helpful. That's an under acid, not enough acid in the stomach. And you might think you're having acid reflux, but what is happening is that your stomach is not doing its job. So therefore, the food that is going through that area, we were talking about, there's a sphincter there. The food that is going through there is too alkaline, and so it's coming up, and your sphincter begins to wear out. And that sphincter is a muscle that closes and opens when you swallow, and it goes through, not when you swallow, but when your stomach is passing the food. It's a mixture of muscle and nerve tissue. So that's another reason that your nervous system is so very important. Okay. So there are exercises you can do for that will be helpful. So if you have what they call acid reflux, it may or may not be acid. If your stomach is dark like that, it's not acid. But what is happening is your sphincter isn't working properly. The last thing you want to do is add to that problem by taking more antacids, right? So what would you do in that situation? There's things you can do. You can take things like slippery elm, which will coat and heal the stomach lining. And so then after you've taken that and you've allowed that to coat, you might need to take more than it says on the bottle. Allowed that to coat, then you take your apple cider vinegar with your food. Okay. And then you can go to YouTube. There are a lot of people that teach how to do exercises to heal that sphincter muscle. But you also want to heal your nervous system because everything is related. But there are exercises you can do that help get that muscle and that nerve tissue to start working. So you can look that up. Okay. So here's another eye. This is another example of low stomach acid. And as you can see, the whole stomach is totally brown. Now this person, as you can see, is a blue eye, but has brown hair. And this, you can see that it looks kind of like a rust colored and an orangey color. This person, anybody who has orange or rust, is probably going to have some pancreatic type insufficiency. You're going to have, you might not be having any symptoms yet, but you could have fungal issues, candida issues, where you're having kidney and bladder problems. This could be sulfur from antibiotics, from anything, some different kind of sulfuric medications. It can build up in the system. Okay. And you might have been born with that because we are born with our mother's lymphatic system. So yes, babies are born with lots of toxins. The Environmental Workers Group did a test on babies like in the 1980s. They took 10 babies, and I think it's the 80s. I'm not exactly sure on that. They took 10 babies. They tested their umbilical cord blood, and they had on average 290 something, I think it's 297 different toxins in that cord blood. Some were heavy metals, some were cancerous, some were neurotoxins, all different kinds of toxins. So that is why you want to, especially if you're planning to have children, begin to strengthen your body and detoxify before you get pregnant. Okay. So anyway, this person has orange. So they're probably going to have a tendency to have some blood sugar regulation issues and have issues with candida, because anytime you have blood sugar regulation issues, you're going to have candida because you're not metabolizing your sugars properly. So this person would want to get off of complex carbs because you are not able to metabolize them. What's happening is they're staying in your gut and they're turning into candida. Okay, so you want to eat simple sugars like your fruits. You can eat them by themselves. They don't require insulin to carry the sugar into the cell. And if you're eating sugar by itself, if you are a diabetic, you would want to start with something with a low sugar content like your fruits and your berries and grapes. Grapes are actually a pretty low sugar content and so good for you. Those are so good for you. You could eat those by themselves and you're not going to have a blood sugar issue. If you do, you can, it's not always an insulin issue, guys. Insulin is not the only thing that regulates our blood sugar. Okay, stress makes a difference. Your B vitamins make a difference. The ability of your cells to absorb it makes a difference. Chromium, zinc, all those magnesium levels make a difference. It's not all about insulin, okay? So anyway, here we go. Okay, so we talked about the nutritive ring. You can see on this person they have low lecithin. Lecithin turns into choline, and choline is used to make the neurotransmitter acetylcholine, and that might be a sign that the liver is not producing lecithin. So if you have that, you could have a clue, excuse me, that the liver needs support. Okay. All right. Okay, the pancreas. All right, here's the pancreas. The pancreas produces digestive enzymes that break down food and insulin for blood sugar regulation. Okay, among other things. But those are the big things that we're aware of and that we're going to talk about today. Okay, so where are we going to look in the iris of the eye for that? How are you guys doing? Are you hanging in there? Are you copying what I'm saying? Okay, so the pancreas does travel across. It's on mostly on your left side under your ribs, but it does travel across. So you're going to see it in both eyes, and it's going to be in 4 places like a square. So what we're going to do is we're going to look. Here's the pancreas here. Here's the pancreas here and here. Right? Okay. So you got 4 areas where the pancreas is like a square all around the outside of the stomach, and the right about where you're touching the nerve wreath should probably be touching on both eyes. You're going to have them. Okay, so let's look at some eyes. Do you guys understand that? It's like a square. And if you have all 4 of those squares, that area that has holes or has any kind of a line or has any discoloration, you know that it's affecting your pancreas, right? So the darker the color, the more tissue damage. If you're seeing white, you're talking about those are acids. You may or may not feel pain in their area. Anything darker than white is beginning to get chronic. Yellow is starting to get chronic. You have gray, and then you have your dark color black, which shows tissue damage with destruction. So let's see an eye here. Okay, this eye, it has all 4 corners, not as much here, but look at here, look at that. You can see that the whole area there is just pushed out. So that is obviously going to be pushing against the pancreas. Anytime you have anything pushing against the pancreas, you're going to have issues. A little bit of white here. So this whole area in here is like the liver and the gallbladder area. So this, I would guess, is probably the gallbladder, and this would be probably the pancreas, or vice versa. Okay. So what does your eye look like? Do you have those 4 corners? Do you have anything like that in your eyes? Have you looked? So maybe you guys will, if you don't have a camera or a mirror and a little light with you, you can rewatch this and then look at it for yourself. Write these things down, because as I go along, I'm telling you what you can do about that. Okay, the pancreas is what releases digestive enzymes and insulin. So if you already have sugar issues, you know your pancreas is working really hard because it's trying to give you insulin to carry that stuff away, to carry the sugar out of your blood. So Here's another eye, almost the same problem, huh? Okay, so yep, you got four. They got the four corners, and right here, 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 those are all pancreatic areas. See, this is called a lacuna, right? You see how dark it is? So that is all, that's gray. So that this person has had this issue for a while. It's not something that has been new. And if this person doesn't start taking care of this issue, eventually that will turn black, and that means that the tissue is degenerated. See, this person has kind of a mixture. So you have white around here. Maybe it's starting to look kind of dark in some areas, but basically a white stomach. They have the lecithin, they have the malabsorption ring. And so that person is having some digestive issues. And to be honest with you, most people do these days. We've been on all this processed foods for so long that the generations of people are just getting worse, not better. Okay, here's a brown eye. As you can see, the brown eye, see they have more layers. And so you cannot see the fibers on the brown eye near as well. You have to really get up close and have a good camera to catch the fibers. All these pictures, you guys, are taken with a cell phone. So if you take a picture of your iris, you definitely want to have the whole entire iris. See how this person has pulled their lids away from the iris and centered the iris where it's straight on with the camera. That's a good iris photo. It's a pretty good iris photo. Okay, so this person has this pancreatic hole here, right? This one's not as bad, but you can see that it's got a little bit of a hole here. Right here, we're okay, but we have one here. So 3 out of the 4 areas, this person is dealing with pancreas issues. Now, what can you do for a pancreas? Okay, I like to try to build the pancreas up while I'm supporting. So in order to build the pancreas up, you can use pancreatic glandulars. The glandulars. So if you were to go to my full script store, you guys, you could go to my favorites and go to the glandulars, or it would be in digestive, under the digestive heading. So a glandular, what it does is it helps do the job that your pancreas isn't able to do, plus it will help rebuild. Now, I have found that some people that are so bad, they're not rebuilding. Sometimes you have to add an herb to that and take off some of the strain by taking digestive enzymes along with your food so that your pancreas is not having to do all the work. Another thing that you can do is take the herb gymnema. That's with a Gymnema, I believe. Gymnema will help rebuild pancreatic cells. So, but those are the kind of things, when you get holes like this, you don't repair right away. You really have to work at things like that when it gets to that point. But it is possible. It is possible to reverse that. And one of the things you would want to do is make sure that you're not adding more fuel to the fire by eating processed things, things in a package that your body has to do all the work. Plus, you're toxifying your body at the same time. So you want to eat your whole foods, as raw as possible, so that it already has the enzymes in it. Your real foods, your fruits and your vegetables that are not cooked to death, have enzymes in them. And that's why when you buy a supplement, you want it to be real food. You don't want to buy isolated ingredients like some of these pharmaceutical companies are making. Like, I don't even like Apex and Metagenics and things like that. I personally don't like them because they use chemical made, vitamins and stuff in there. So if you look in my full script count, I've got my favorites. They are real food. 99.9% of them are real food. There are a few that I have in there that might have like one isolated thing, but it's because, like for instance, a pineal gland, I can't find one that doesn't have anything in it. So I'd rather you have the pineal gland than to not have it at all. So anyway, okay, so there's a nice brown eye. You can also see that this person's liver is struggling. This is either this white ring around the outside. Okay, when you start to see a white, especially here, this is the brain area. That's that whole liver is not breaking down the fats, or it could be a sodium ring. And usually you'll have other symptoms where you can tell if that's a liver cholesterol issue or if that is a sodium ring. Now, what you want to understand is that peripheral has to do with your circulation. So if you have this white ring around this whole area, that means you're probably clogged in your veins and arteries, and that cholesterol is beginning to back up, and that can be causing issues. So that is a sign of that. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so the liver and the gallbladder. Okay, this is not anatomically correct. You don't have that big old long distance here, I don't believe, between here, but at least you can see it. So whenever the food goes through the stomach, right, we said it has to be acidic to go through here to make this bile duct, this common bile duct, cause the gallbladder to release bile, which breaks down, and starts breaking down and detoxifying, and then for your pancreas to release enzymes. So your liver, you want your liver to be healthy. It detoxifies. It helps to regulate your glucose, your blood sugar. It emulsifies fats, just like we were saying. It produces proteins. It stores nutrients. It filters the blood and metabolizes nutrients. And it gets rid of your medications and metabolizes your medications. So the liver has a very hard job, and we know that the liver can grow back and can heal. That's a well-known thing that you can regrow a liver. So let's look at that. Okay, so where would the liver be? Remember we talked about, okay, here's the right eye. Here's a liver here. The liver sits under the right side, under your ribs, and then the gallbladder hangs down just a little bit below that. I do have a video on that. It's a really short video, like a 7-8 minute video on how to check your liver and your gallbladder. So I'm on Rumble, and you can check it out there. But anyway, all right, so you have a liver. It shows up in 3 places. On the right side, you have it on right below 8 o'clock, and then right at 4 o'clock, and it goes all the way through here. Okay, and then on the left side, you have it right here at the 8 o'clock, but not on the 4 o'clock here, because that's where your spleen is. All right, so you have it in 3, it shows up in 3 places. So let's look at some slides and see. All right, so this is a left eye. So that is going to be right here. See that dark line? Right about here. So remember, this is the eye with the digestive issues. Well, you can see that the issue is starting to leak out right into the liver. The liver is getting congested with toxins. Anytime you see a darkening color like that, you know that toxins are building up. So the liver is building up. This person needs to get on some long-term digestive, some detoxification, start killing the candida in the body. You can do that with by not eating, like I said, not eating the complex carbs, because this person is probably, pancreas is not sufficient to create the digestive enzymes that are breaking it down. And then you have candida. And just like if you had a piece of meat laying out on the side of the road or whatever, what comes? The bugs and the flies and the worms and everything starts to come to digest. Well, when you have stagnation like this, you are going to have all that. And that's where parasites become a problem in the intestines. You can see these dark radii solaris that are going straight from all the way from the stomach up into the brain area of this person. That can be an indication of parasites. And I just think everybody should do some parasite cleanse. Now, parasites are very, very difficult to eradicate when you get to this part, when you get like this, because your transverse colon is right here, and you have those, it goes up and it bends over and it's flat and then it goes down. And so you have like these curves on both sides. And so things get clogged up in that transverse colon and it doesn't want to move out of there. And then you start getting things like this, these radii solaris, and then that goes and leaks up into the brain, the pineal area, your pituitary, and affects your hormones. And so your digestion is really a very basic. So that's one of the things I teach in my school. One of the first things we teach is digestion, because your digestion is your foundation, what you're eating. Okay. Okay, let's see. I don't know if this is a left eye or right eye. I think this is another left eye. As you can see, this eye right here through the liver, it's kind of getting a little dark, right? And the gallbladder area is white, meaning that there is acid there. Acids burn. Remember, we talked about the stomach needs to be a low pH. The stomach is made for it, but the rest of your tissues are not made to have that acid in it. And what happens, it's not about, people say that's not true, that you have all these different, pHs, and that your cells don't have, different pH. Well, they do, because here's why. When you are creating energy in your body and your different cells are creating energy, remember we talked about the 2 bilayers with all the foods and everything coming in and out of all the different cells. Well, as you create energy, it's just like a car or a manufacturing plant. There's exhaust. There's waste product that is created from your body creating energy. So that waste product has to go somewhere. And what happens is it goes into between the cells in the fluid, because between all your cells is just like a shingles on a home. They stack and you have space, but you have space between those shingles that have fluids in there. That's your interstitial fluids. And those fluids hold, all kinds of things. That's where your lymphatic system is pushing, is using your white blood cells. And anyway, so when your cells are creating the energy, if it's letting go of acids, then those acids are going into the cells. But if you're eating the right, correct foods, then it is not creating as much of the acids, and your body can get rid of them easier because the overload is not as bad. So that's another reason why you want to eat alkalizing foods, your fruits and your vegetables. All right. Okay, so we already did this eye. So this would be the gallbladder or pancreas. Probably this is the gallbladder. They may have had the gallbladder taken out. Sometimes when a person has had an operation, had something removed, it'll look like a lacuna, and you'll have this white encasement of the body scar tissue. You can heal from this, guys. What happens is, as you heal, your body starts filling in these fibers, and that's how you can watch your iris of your eye and know what your body is doing. Because as you begin to heal, the fibers start to fill out and they change colors. Okay. So how did you do? Were you able to check your eyes? Do you have any questions? Were you able to look into your iris? If you need to watch this again, feel free. Make your notes so that you can know what to do. Now, what do you do for a liver that is struggling? Okay, well, there are things you can do is get a good liver formula. Some of my favorite herbs for liver is, why can't I think? Milk thistle. Milk thistle has lots of studies and it does help rebuild the liver. Spanish black radish is a very good herb, or eating radishes to help detoxify the body. Radishes, I don't know if all radishes do, but I know Spanish black radish will help the detoxification be 4 times better, basically, because it goes through different processes. So Spanish black radish, having herbs like that to help the liver detoxify, because your liver is the one that is doing all that work, right? Detoxifying a lot of that, the poisons and the so your liver and your lymphatic system is doing the work of detoxification and things like that. So supporting that with herbs. Milk thistle is one of your best ones. And for the gallbladder, if you've had your gallbladder out, you need to get some bile salts. And that's really, it's hard to skip that. In my store, I have a formula in there. I think it's called Professional Formulas. And it has both bile salts and Spanish black radish in it. So that would be under digestion. It would be under detoxification also. So that would be a good formula for someone who wants to support. There's another formula in there, Wise Woman Herbals, called HepaCaps, that is really good. That has herbs in it that are both good for the gallbladder and the liver, and to help with digestion. And if you have, if you're not having regular bowel movements, and or your bowel movements are either constipated or they're not, or they're loose and then come out in pieces, you know it's probably your liver and your gallbladder. So you would want to support them. You should have one bowel movement, or either one huge bowel movement that is good, nice and clean, comes out. You shouldn't have a bunch of stuff on you that you need to clean off. That's what a good bowel movement is like. If you don't have that, that means your digestion is not working. You could have 2 or 3 smaller bowel movements, but you want them to be clean. But you should have a bowel movement every single day. And you should not have to take magnesium to get your bowels to move. Okay, magnesium is more like a diuretic. I don't want to say it's a diuretic, but you know what I'm saying. It will make things happen, and maybe you might need to do that at first. If you're not having bowel movements and you can't get them going, you might need some extra support, but you don't want to have to rely on that. You want to get your digestion working so that you can do things right. You want your pancreas, you want your liver to be healthy, you want your stomach to be healthy. So I wanted to let you guys know. Right now I'm running a special. Let me see if I can get my banner up. Yeah. So right now I'm running a special. I'm doing iris analysis for only $90. They're usually $385. And what that would include, what would be your iris analysis, a lifestyle recommendation, any supplements that you might need recommendation, and then we give you time to get on those recommendations, and then there will be a follow-up. So that's all included. And what that would entail would be, you'd need to do some paperwork for me, get some good pictures of your iris to me so that I have time and the ability to look at them. And then we schedule a time where we can talk about it, and I can tell you and point things out to you and show you that. And then I also wanted to tell you about my school. I'm doing a half price on my school. So if this kind of thing interests you and you like this iridology and you want to see how you can better help your body to heal and watch the progress. We go over the main systems that run everything else. So it's 6 months. It is a video once a week and then a group call where you are able to ask me questions, talk about what's going on with you. You can discuss, problems you might be having. We go through a detoxification, and it's just packed every week for 6 months. One video, which will take about 45 minutes of your time, maybe some are a little shorter, maybe some a little longer. Okay. And then the group call. So if that sounds like something that interests you, you can message me. There's my email there, or you can direct me. Please like and subscribe to my channel. And thank you, everybody. Make sure you ask me any questions. And I really appreciate you being here. Hope you enjoyed this. Yeah, I did. Have a great day.